All right, let's get right into it. What if I told you that the most dangerous person in any room isn't the one working the hardest? It's not the overachiever, not even the certified genius. No, it's the person that everybody else just calls lazy. Today, we're going to dig into why this person secretly terrifies us and why they might just be the one who actually changes the world. So picture this. You walk into a coffee shop. Who are you putting your money on? The person typing away like their life depends on it, or the one just kind of staring out the window? Your answer? Well, it might reveal a whole lot more about you than it does about them. Okay, so over at one table, you've got Sarah. Her laptop's open, she's got a color-coded planner, she is a whirlwind of pure productivity. Then at another table, there's Mike. He's just scrolling on his phone, maybe looks half asleep. Now, our culture screams at us that Sarah is the one going places. But what if Mike is quietly piecing together an idea that could completely upend an entire industry, while Sarah is just, updating her LinkedIn profile? And that brings us to this really fascinating and deeply misunderstood character, the lazy, ambitious man. It's this walking contradiction that our productivity-obsessed society just cannot seem to wrap its head around. What's so wild is just how these traits clash, right? This is the person who dreams bigger than anyone you know, but might not roll out of bed until noon. They'll have these brilliant insights that could be worth millions, but they won't change out of their pajamas. And this terrifies us. Because if brilliance doesn't require a 5 a.m. wake-up call, then what does that say about this exhausting race we've all been running?
You see, the discomfort we feel when we're around this person, it's not really about them. It's about us. And to really understand why, we need to look at this powerful psychological concept from the brilliant mind of Carl Jung.
Jung called it the shadow. It's basically all the parts of ourselves that we deny and we push down. And in our modern culture, the biggest, darkest part of that shadow is the fear of being seen as lazy, as worthless. We've literally tied our entire sense of value to how busy we look.
And this really gets to the art of it all. So much of hustle culture is just a performance. We're optimizing our lives, we're grinding, we post about it online, not always because it's the most effective way to live, but because we're terrified of the silence. We're scared of what people would think, what we would think about ourselves if we just stopped.
So when that quote-unquote lazy person really irritates you, Jung would say that's a signal. It's a mirror. What are they reflecting back at you? Is it a secret desire you have to just slow down? A frustration with the hamster wheel you feel forced to run on? It's a really powerful question to ask yourself.
But let's flip this on its head for a second. What if this apparent laziness isn't a weakness at all? What if it's the very source, the wellspring of true genius and creativity?
Just think about that quote for a moment. The creative mind plays. It doesn't grind, it doesn't force things, it doesn't set smart goals, it just plays with the things it loves. The productivity gurus out there, they really don't want you to know that your greatest breakthroughs will never ever come from your to-do list.
Jung had a name for this process too. He called it active imagination. It's what happens when your conscious, analytical mind, the one that's always talking, finally gets out of the way. It allows your incredibly powerful unconscious mind to start connecting dots, processing information, and then presenting these profound insights that your conscious effort could never have come up with.
And hey, this isn't just theory. History is absolutely filled with examples of this. Einstein's theory of relativity famously came to him during a daydream. Nikola Tesla, he visualized his inventions, fully formed, during his evening walks. And Jung himself had his biggest breakthroughs during periods that his colleagues probably would have called lazy and unproductive.
Okay, now, this is where it's personal. Because maybe, as you've been listening to all this, you started to recognize a little bit of yourself in this description. So let's look at the signs that you might be one of these people that society has totally misunderstood.
So ask yourself, do solutions just sort of appear in your mind, fully formed? Does trying to follow a rigid productivity system feel like you're fighting against your own nature, making you feel even worse? Is your energy cyclical? You're useless at 9 a.m., but you're a genius at midnight? If any of this sounds familiar, listen, you are not broken. You're just operating on a different rhythm.
And it is so important to understand this. Your different rhythm, your way of being, it isn't a bug you need to fix. It is a feature. It is the very mechanism that gives you access to a deeper level of insight and creativity. For years, you might have been trying to fix the one thing that actually makes you brilliant.
So the real question becomes, how do you live this way? How do you thrive in a world that demands constant, visible productivity? Well, it's not about fighting the system.
It's about understanding and, finally, working with your own. First, you have to stop apologizing for your natural energy cycles. That urge to do nothing, that's not laziness calling, that's your unconscious mind asking for some processing time. Second, you have to learn the difference between real, restorative rest and just anxious avoidance. Rest feels peaceful, ideas come from it. Avoidance feels guilty. You know the difference. And third, develop what's called active patience. This isn't just waiting around. It's consciously preparing for the moment when your insight finally arrives.
You have to stop measuring yourself by social media's timeline. Deep, meaningful work takes time to incubate. The ideas that really change the world aren't born in some 90-day sprint. What looks like waiting to other people, that is actually the patient, slow process of mastery.
And maybe this is the ultimate shift in perspective. While everyone else is busy optimizing their efficiency, you are optimizing for authenticity. You're not just finding a better way to do things, you're building a self that's worth doing things for. So I'll just leave you with this final thought from Jung. Society has taught every single one of us to look outside for validation, for success, for the next goal. But the lazy ambitious person knows that the real journey is inward. The question isn't whether you'll achieve your ambitions. The question is, will you have the courage to trust your own process long enough to let them emerge?